pleasure to welcome Coach Brandon Brown to the show. Brandon, listen, thanks so much for the time. And how are you, my friend?
I'm well. Thanks for having me. I'm doing blessed. I'm just happy that I'm on top of the dirt and the dirt's not on top of the meat, on top of me. And we live in a strange time right now, and so it's very important that that we stay safe. And I'm just glad I'm still here.
You sound just like me and a lot of us, for that matter. I mean, I give thanks every day I wake up, and hey, I wake up and I'm here and I'm talking, and I get up out of bed and I say a prayer and thank the Lord, move on. So, and it's been the case for a while, but even more so now. Talk about the process, Brandon, of how this has gone and we've had a lot of coaches on, but each one has kind of an individual story. Initially, you can only gather 4 people together at one time. Now it's 25. I suspect that you're doing it at different time intervals during the day to be able to get everybody gathered. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's been kind of strange. However, I met with my staff. We've been out since March. With the COVID. But we took a different approach. We kind of try to use the time wisely, and so we had weekly Zoom meetings, me and my staff, and then we kind of even went on to the kids. And so in the kids Zoom meeting, when we met with our kids, our players, it had nothing to do with football. We just wanted to make sure that those guys and their families were safe, making sure that they were staying active educationally, making sure they're doing some work and just staying active. And so I think that was a really big thing for us. We was able to just keep in touch with our guys and our coaches and just make sure everyone was safe. And so when we were able to get a chance to get back, June 8th in Louisiana, Mr. Bourdain said, June 8th would be the day. We were all excited, and well, here comes the hurricane. And so we kind of pushed it back to the 10th. And so, from then on, we've been having a great turnout. Like you said, we've been coming in intervals, and so just kind of we putting our guys in kind of pods. And so we got 15 guys to kind of stay together. We know the max is 25, but, we just wanted to make sure that we were safe. And so we put ourselves in pods of 15 and, have 1 or 2 coaches to kind of travel with just that pod. And, things been working well. We took the approach that, we wouldn't complain about it. We wouldn't complain about what we couldn't do. And we would take more individual time with individual players. And so I think it's going to really benefit us, down the road, just the time that we're being able to spend with our guys just individually. And so, and I told our guys to hold the entire month of June, we wouldn't do anything football-wise, So we just kind of been doing some conditioning, doing some strength training, and just doing some mental stuff. We just want to talk to our kids. We spend about 10 or 15 minutes daily, just talking to our kids, just making sure they're in a good mind frame. We had some nothing happened immediately, but some kids lost some aunts, some uncles, and some grandparents, to this COVID. And so we just kind of want to, we hadn't did anything. We hadn't touched a ball the whole month of June. Kind of just been, getting our kids back into it mentally, before we start talking about football.
Lenny?
Coach, what do you think is going to be the key to making up for, and everybody's facing it, the fact that no one went through spring drills this year, and the time that you would have had that scrimmage you lost in there, and I know everybody gets to be able to start August 1st instead of I think it was August 11th or whatever the date is. You get that little bit of time on the front end, but that time away, what is it that you can do as a team, as a staff, to help give you, a little bit of an edge over the others because of that lost March, April, and May effective?
Well, once again, I think, the time that we lost, we kind of really spent our time, physically we weren't together, but just the mental part of it. And so, I enjoyed it, with it being and it really helped me a lot. I lost my dad in December. And so, just it gave me some time to just kind of sit back, relax and enjoy my family as well. But also, like I said, we were meeting with our coaches, meeting with our players on Zoom, and it just helped us build a better relationship and a better bond. And, as you all say, players will play better for you when they believe in you, when they buy in. And so it gave us a chance to really, really meet our guys, and see them in a different light, more so than on the field. And, I think it's going to help us in the long run, just that relationship, we can expect more and get more out of our guys now because they understand us better as coaches. We understand them better as kids, and so I think just that they understand now that it's bigger than just coaching for us. They understand that we really care about them. We really care about their well-being. We really care about their families, and so like I said, I mean, this whole time we've been back, we hadn't touched a football not one time, and so I think our guys is really, they're really buying in. Like, wow, this is bigger than football for coaches. With me, with it being home. I always dreamed about coming back home and dreamed about building a dynasty program, dreamed about building a championship program, but I always felt like it had to start somewhere other than the field. And this COVID gave us opportunity to start places other than the field, start in the home, start with building a relationship. And so I think it's going to help us on the back end.
Visiting with Coach Brandon Brown of the East St. John Wildcats. And, Coach, as far as on the field is concerned, a solid season last year. You get to the playoffs, and, of course, you're able to advance, upsetting Central in the first round. Great road win in a thrilling game, 34-30. And then you put up 29 points against Airline, but it wasn't enough against a good team there. So last year was a good season. You have a chance to build on that. I know you've got some good players returning this year. Jackie Marshall, obviously, is a guy that people are paying a lot of attention to. Willen Williams is another guy that is a very good player that people know all about. Just talk about last season and talk about this season and what your prospects are.
Well, again, last season, like you said, we had a really good year, and for year two, I was very, very pleased. When you lose to, we lost to a very, very well-coached team in St. James. They're state champions for a reason. And early on we lost to them, and that night I told my staff, I said, listen, nobody's going to beat St. James. They were that much better than us. They were well coached. They are fundamentally sound, and so there's nothing to hang our heads about. And then we go into district and we lose to a game to Hunville, who's a very good opponent. I just didn't think we played very well at all. Not taking anything away from them, we just didn't play well. And like you said, so we kind of get things going and then lose in the second round. And so, but again, I think as you're trying to build a program, things like that happen. You have those bumps in the road, and so we just got to keep building. We talk about building a solid program, brick by brick, and so hey, it's year three, so it's time to add another brick. And that's what I tell our guys every day. It's time to take that next step, and so we got to work extremely hard. We got our work cut out for us because we lost a very, very talented skill group. Our receiving core, our quarterback. On defense, our secondary, our skill, we lost a very, very talented skill group. However, I think we come back this year and we very strong up front. Defensive line, we going to be very, very good. Offensive line, we're going to be solid there as well. And so we have a really, really talented group. And the truth is, when I tell it to people, they're like, wow, how can you say that? But I think that the skill group that we have coming up, it's going to be better than what we just lost. And it's kind of hard to believe when you talk about losing a guy like Dante Fleming, losing a guy like Markel Auburn, losing a guy like Sean Shelby, our quarterback. But we have those young guys we have is really, really good. But here's the key. They're going to be very, very inexperienced. And so we're going to have to depend on guys like Willen Williams and Jackie Marshall to kind of lead us until those young guys can come on. And so that's kind of been our thing. And so the good thing is, with this COVID, and I talk to our coaches about it all the time, what's happening is we're developing leaders, because we have to split our guys up. We have to come in pods. We only got 50 at a time. And so we try to strategically put them in situations where Jackie's not in the weight room with this group, so he can't be the leader. Will not in the weight room with that group, he can't be leader. So someone else has to step up and be that leader. And so we're really finding guys that way. And so, really this COVID is a blessing in disguise for us because we're finding some guys who's willing to step up. They've been up to the challenge so far, and like I said, that's the first thing we tell them, guys, look around. There's no Jackie, there's no Whalen, there's no Marcus Jackson. All those senior guys that we're going to count on, they're not in here. I need to find a leader. And so we have some guys really stepping up to the challenge. And so I think it's going to really help us, in the long run. But again, defensively, we're going to be really, really good. I think we're going to be bigger. We're going to be faster and stronger, especially with our guys up front. We return all four of our guys up front. And so, and I always told people that if you can run a football and stop the run, you have a chance to be successful. And so You got our guys returning on the offensive line and also defensive line. So I think we're going to have a really good chance.
Ken Trahan, Lenny Van Gilder with Coach Brandon Brown of East St. John. Lenny?
What is it, Coach, as someone who played there and is now back, what is it that makes high school football so special in the river parishes? I mean, I think, everyone has either won a state championship or at least has been to a state championship game. So it's not just one program or two programs. You've got 8 down there, and, at different times, they've all experienced the greatest level of success there is to experience in our state.
Absolutely. It's nothing like River Parish football, and I don't say that lightly. But when we talk about football, in my mind, this is the SEC of high school football. Week in and week out. You have people, like you said, year in and year out. You have guys that can contend for a state championship. Well, here's the challenge for us. I tell our kids this all the time. 1980 was the last time East St. John, the first and the last time East St. John has ever won a championship. And I tell our guys, up and down the river, year in and year out, somebody's from the River Parish is going to a championship. We're next, and that's what I told our guys. Why not us? And so that's the challenge for us. The challenge for us to show to everybody that we belong. And so in that, honestly, I want to bring back those rivalries. Being a kid here, playing here, always playing the teams like Lutcher, St. James, and of course, Destry and Hanville is in district. That's been a goal. I've actually reached out to St. James, and we actually playing each other now. We're going to continue playing. I reached out to Coach Jenkins over at Lutcher, and hopefully we can get things going and we can start playing again. And I just want to, like you said, win, lose, or draw. It's going to be great football. It's going to be great for the communities, and it's nothing like River Parish football. And I feel like if you're going to be the best, you have to compete and play against the best. And so that's my mindset with that. And so we want to be able to play those teams. You talk about championship ball clubs, up and down the river. And so we want to show that we belong. And so the only way you show that we belong, we get to that point where those programs are. Like I said, I have a really good relationship with Coach Robert Valdez at St. James, and we talk a lot. And I try to get some ideas and piggyback off him, and we both do the same. And we hopefully one day we can form that bond where, like you said, those 8 schools at River Parish, at some point that we all in the dome. We all in the dome. We all playing for championships, and so we're gonna get there. And I told our guys, we the little brother right now. We the one that don't have a championship. We the one that hadn't played for one in a while. It's time to change that. And so that's our goal right now. We're trying to change that and show everyone that we belong.
Visiting with Brandon Brown of East St. John. And, Coach, you River Parish guy. You played at East St. John. You went to Alcorn, of course, highly successful in coaching. Talk about your experience growing up as we deal with these changes in our country right now and social justice. Talk about your own experiences, what discrimination or racism you may have faced, if it was overt, covert, if it was a lot, a little, from your perspective, as we try to educate and help everyone understand why people feel the way they do.
Well, you know what, I'm very, very blessed and fortunate, and I tell it to my guys all the time. And so, and I don't say this to be braggadocious or boast, but, I had a unique situation. I was in a situation where I was in a home with mom and dad, and a lot of my teammates, wasn't. My dad, has always been in the church. He's a pastor of a church, until he just passed in December. And so, my situation was a little different. However, we was raised to be family. And so, like I said, my dad being in the church, he knew a lot of people, and he always taught me to help and to be a helping hand. And so that's just kind of the way I was raised, whether, white, black, blue, green, it didn't matter. And I'll give you a story. I went to my senior prom, and this place is still in the class, right on Bearterre Avenue. It's called Former Connections. Okay, the owners is Caucasian. They're white people. And so what happened was I was in high school. It was a lady on the side of the road with a flat tire, her and her daughter. My dad pulled on the side of the road, offered to help her fix her flat. Me and him both fixed her flat. and she offered to give him money. He said, "No, ma'am, I don't need your money. I just want to help you." He said, I have a daughter and I have a wife, and I would hope that someone would do the same for them." And so he walked away. She went to her car and she came running back to him. She said, "Here you go, sir. Here's my card. My husband and I own Former Connection. If you know anybody that need any kind of tuxedo needs, just come see me. I'm going to take care of it." And he said, "Well, look, by the way, my son, he's a senior. He's going to prom." And she said, "Well, look, just come to my shop." We went to the shop, and everything was laid out for me, free of charge and everything. And it just, so, and I think, just a good lesson that we didn't see black or white, and we never did, and we don't now. And so, I think it's what you make it. Now, you have good cops, bad cops. You have good black people. You have good white people. You have, bad people. It's just who you are, and how you make things. And so, it's a touching situation because I hate to see the state that our world is in right now. I just think it's no place for the injustice. There's no place for the racism. And I just hate that, and I hate that we're dealing with this. And at some point, we need to become a family again. No matter what color you are. And like I said, that was just a good example of something that I did with in my life. And it wasn't a bad. It was actually a good situation. And I think as a country, we can all get to those kind of situations where we lend a helping hand. And so, sadly to say, it's not the case. It's not the case right now. But again, I'm one who just don't see color. I see the kindness of people's heart. I see who people are, and I judge them for who they are, and that's the way I hope to be treated the same way. And so, that's a message I try to teach to my children. I have 2 kids, a 5-year and a 6-year, and I try to teach that to them on a daily basis. I always also, when they step foot in the field house, I teach that to every kid that comes in this building, and not only football kids, but as their athletic director. And at a school like East St. John, I have white, I have black, I have Hispanic, and so as an athletic director, I want them to know that I am, the guy that you can lean on. I have your best interest at heart, and so I try to do a really good job. And like I said, color don't matter to me. I would do anything I can to help any person be in a better situation that they can. And so, I do anything possible to help you be successful. And so that's just who I am. And I would hope that one day this world can get to that as well.
Well, I would have a follow-up question, but I think you just stated it all about as well as anyone ever could have done so. So you did too well. You don't allow reporters to follow up with good questions. What's wrong with you, man? Great summation. And I do think that if people heard that and got that memo, we'd all be in great shape. But it's a revelation of your character and who you are. And I think that speaks volumes for the respect that people have for you and why we feel the same way. Lenny, a final thought for Coach Brown before we let him get away?
I agree with what you were saying there. Not allowing a question. What do you see happening on the high school front? We've seen so much talking about college athletes and professional athletes and some of the things as obviously they are, they're more visible and more high profile and more mainstream. And some of the things that they're going to try to do to keep the name of social change and social justice out there. What are the things that you might see on the high school level, and what kind of conversations have you and your players had in that regard when it comes to this football season?
Well, I can't speak for the majority. I can't speak for the masses. However, East St. John is a program where I told my guys that this is how it's going to go. I said, as the leader of this program, you guys, and I told that to my coaching staff, they're going to go as I go. And, I'm just not, I'm about doing the right thing. And so now if there's a situation where, it could completely gets out of hand and, that there's a stance that we need to take, we will. But at this point, listen, I just want everyone to love each other. And I just want everyone to be in a situation where we can all get along and that we can all learn from each other. And so that's where we're headed with our program. And I told our guys that they have to understand that, no matter the race, no matter the color, no matter background, no matter socioeconomic standard, you're gonna always need someone. You know, you can always help someone, but on the other end of it, you can always need someone. And so that's our mindset. And not just with racial things, just with guys in general. So, you know, you may have this senior who's, you know, just a great athlete that's being highly recruited, but then you have a freshman or sophomore who's not very talented. I just work ethic, you know, and I tell it to the guys all the time. I said, listen, you got to be careful, you know, what you do and how you treat certain people, because one day that guy may be your boss. That one day you may have to, you know, go interview for a job, and that guy's sitting behind that desk. And so that's the message that I send to my guys. That's the message that I send to my program, that, you know, you got to be very, very careful. And that's the biggest thing. You got to treat, and that's what I was taught. My dad always taught me that, you know, you have to be careful how you treat people, because one day, you know, like I said, he may be your boss, or he may be that person that you need for a job, you know, or you need, you know, when, you know, you're going to get a home loan. You know, he may be the lender. You never know. And so, you know, it's better, it's best to be careful and just treat people the right way.
Well, treat people the way you want to be treated. It's a very simple premise. And respect
Absolutely.
is something that seems to be lost right now in a lot of areas, but not here, and certainly not from Brandon Brown of East St. John. Brandon, thank you so much for the time. Keep up the good work that you do, not just coaching, but mentoring young men and with your own children. And may God truly bless you and yours. You hear?
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. God bless you guys.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.